The observation deck of the civilian transport ship Horizon's Edge offered a breathtaking view of the Kepler Nebula, swirling clouds of purple and gold that stretched across the viewport like a cosmic painting. Most passengers had gathered here for the sight, chattering excitedly about the rare astronomical phenomenon. Kai Brennan stood apart from the crowd, as always, silent, watchful. His dark eyes scanned faces, exits, structural weak points, habits from 12 years in deep space security that he couldn't shake even on a peaceful civilian voyage. He noticed her immediately, not because she was beautiful, though she was, with azure skin that seemed to glow softly and silver hair that cascaded down her back in intricate braids. No, he noticed her because of the tension in her shoulders, the way her luminous eyes kept darting to the small child at her side. The girl was maybe 4 years old, with the same azure skin as her mother but curious golden eyes that took in everything with wonder. She pressed her small hands against the viewport, watching the nebula with pure delight. "Mama, look, it's dancing!" the child exclaimed. The mother, Lady Nyxeria, according to the passenger manifest Kai had reviewed, smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. She was afraid of something, or someone. Kai had learned long ago not to involve himself in others' business. He did his job, kept to himself, spoke only when absolutely necessary. Some called him cold, others called him mysterious. He preferred to think of himself as simply quiet, but something about the woman's fear made him pay attention. Over the next hour, he watched, saw how she positioned herself between her daughter and the other passengers, saw how she flinched when a tall Valorian male passed too close, saw how her hand trembled as she activated a communication device, then quickly shut it off, as if afraid of being tracked. Running from something, or someone. Not my problem, Kai reminded himself. He was a passenger, not security. This wasn't his ship, wasn't his responsibility. Then the lights went out. Emergency lighting kicked in immediately, bathing the observation deck in eerie red. Passengers gasped, murmured nervously. The ship's intercom crackled. Temporary power fluctuation. Please remain calm. Systems will be restored momentarily. In the confusion and dim light, Kai saw him, the Valorian male, moving with purpose toward Lady Nyxeria and her daughter, saw the weapon concealed in his hand, saw the cold determination in his eyes. Kai moved. He crossed the deck in complete silence, his years of training making him nearly invisible in the chaos. The Valorian raised his weapon, aiming at the child. Kai's hand caught his wrist, twisting with precise force. The weapon clattered to the floor. The Valorian spun, shocked, and Kai drove his knee into the man's solar plexus. As the attacker doubled over, Kai delivered a precise strike to the nerve cluster at the base of his neck. The Valorian collapsed, unconscious. The entire encounter took less than 5 seconds. The lights came back on just as Kai kicked the weapon under a maintenance panel out of sight. He caught Lady Nyxeria's wide-eyed stare, pressed a finger to his lips in a gesture of silence, and melted back into the crowd before anyone else noticed what had happened. The Valorian was discovered minutes later, apparently having fainted from the stress of the power fluctuation. Medical personnel carried him away. No one questioned it. No one had seen what really happened, except Lady Nyxeria. Kai was in his cabin 2 hours later when the door chimed. He opened it to find Lady Nyxeria standing there, her daughter's hand clasped in hers. "May I come in?" she asked, her voice musical but uncertain. Kai hesitated, then stepped aside. She entered, looking around his sparse cabin, functional, minimal, impersonal. "I'm Nyxaria Velthari. This is my daughter, Ilara." Kai nodded but said nothing. "You saved her life today," Nyxaria continued. "That man, he was sent by my former husband. He wants Ilara dead. Inheritance laws on my homeworld favor male heirs, and my ex-husband has sons from another marriage. Ilara's existence complicates his claims." Still, Kai remained silent. "You could have alerted security, could have made a scene. Instead, you acted with perfect discretion. You protected us without drawing attention." Nyxaria's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. "Why?" Kai considered not answering, but something in her expression, the desperate need to understand, made him speak. His voice was quiet, roughened from disuse. "Because it was necessary." 3 words, his first spoken words to her. Nyxaria seemed to understand that those 3 words were significant coming from him. "The man you stopped, he won't be the last. My ex-husband is powerful, wealthy, determined. There will be others." Kai's jaw tightened. Not my problem, he thought, but he didn't say it. "I have a proposal," Nyxaria said. "I'm traveling to the outer colonies to claim sanctuary with a distant relative. It's 3 more weeks aboard this ship, then another 2 weeks on connecting transport. I need someone who can protect Ilara, someone skilled, someone discreet." She paused. "Someone who won't fail her. Hire a bodyguard. I have 3 times all were bribed or threatened into abandoning their posts." Her voice broke slightly. "But you helped without being asked, without expecting payment, without even speaking. That tells me something about your character." Kai started to refuse. This wasn't his fight. He'd fulfilled his moral obligation by stopping the immediate threat. Then little Ilara stepped forward, holding up a drawing she'd apparently been working on during the conversation. It showed a stick figure, him he assumed from the height, standing between smaller figures and a dark, scribbled monster. "You're the brave, quiet man," Ilara said, her golden eyes serious. "You saved me from the bad man, thank you." Something in Kai's chest constricted. He looked at the drawing, at the child's earnest face, at the mother's desperate hope. "I'm not a bodyguard," he said quietly. "I know you're better than that. You're someone who acts without needing credit or glory, someone who does what's right simply because it needs to be done." Nyxaria took a step closer. "Please, just until we reach the outer colonies, keep us safe." Kai looked at Ilara again, 4 years old, innocent, targeted for death because of political convenience and greed. "I don't make promises," he said. "I'm not asking for promises, I'm asking for your help." A long silence stretched between them. Finally, Kai nodded once. The relief that washed over Nyxaria's face was palpable. Thank you so much, I'll pay you." Kai raised a hand, cutting her off. "No payment." "But no payment," he repeated firmly. Then added more softly, "Just keep your daughter close." Over the following weeks, Kai became a silent shadow to Nyxaria and Ilara. He never announced his presence, never made a show of protection. But he was always there, in the corridor when they walked to meals, in the recreation area when Ilara played, positioned between them and potential threats at all times. 2 more assassination attempts occurred. Both failed before Nyxaria even knew they were happening. A poisoned meal that Kai intercepted and disposed of. An accidental airlock malfunction that Kai detected and prevented. He never spoke of these interventions. Never sought acknowledgement, simply continued his silent vigil. Nyxaria began seeking him out, trying to understand this quiet man who asked for nothing but gave everything. She found him in the observation deck late one night, staring at the stars. "You're always alone," she observed, settling into a seat nearby, not too close, respecting his obvious need for space. Kai didn't respond. Ilara talks about you constantly. The quiet guardian, she calls you. She says you must be sad because you never smile. That drew a glance from Kai. Not sad, he thought, just careful, distant, safe. I looked into your background, Nyxaria admitted. I hope you don't mind. Former deep space security, decorated for valor during the frontier conflicts, rescued 17 civilians from a collapsing station. Then you just disappeared from service, started traveling alone on civilian transports. Kai's hands tightened on the armrest. What happened? She asked gently. For a long moment he didn't answer, then got too close to the people I was protecting, made it personal. They died anyway. His voice was barely above a whisper. Learned my lesson, stay distant, stay silent, do the job without attachment. That sounds lonely. It's safe. For whom? The question hit harder than Kai expected. He looked at her, really looked at her, and saw understanding in her luminous eyes. I think you're wrong, Nyxaria said softly. I think attachment, caring about the people you protect, doesn't make you weaker. It makes you stronger, more determined, more willing to do whatever it takes. Or it makes you reckless, clouds your judgment. You've saved my daughter 3 times now. Your judgment seems perfectly clear to me. Kai had no answer for that. Nyxaria stood, preparing to leave. For what it's worth, I'm grateful you're here, and not just because you're protecting us, but because Ilara smiles more when you're around. Because I feel safer knowing you're watching. Because, she hesitated, because I haven't felt this cared for in a very long time, even if you express it through silence and distance. After she left, Kai sat alone with her words echoing in his mind. They reached the transfer station 3 weeks later. Nyxaria's connecting transport wouldn't depart for another 6 hours. Kai planned to leave immediately, his obligation fulfilled, time to move on before attachment became a problem. He was packing when Ilara appeared in his doorway. You're leaving, she said, not a question. Kai nodded. But you promised to keep us safe. I said I'd get you here safely. I did. Ilara's golden eyes filled with tears. But what if more bad men come? What if they hurt Mama? Your mother has arranged for security on the next transport. But I want you, Ilara said, her voice breaking. You're our guardian. You're supposed to stay with us. Kai knelt down to her level, something he'd never done before. Ilara, I'm not. I'm not good at staying. I'm good at moving on. Why? Because it's easier. Easier than what? Easier than caring. Easier than failing someone I love again. Nyxaria appeared behind her daughter. Ilara, sweetheart, let Kai finish packing. We talked about this. But Ilara threw her arms around Kai's neck, holding tight. Please don't go, please. You're the only one who keeps the bad men away. You're the only one who makes Mama smile. Please stay. Kai gently detached her arms, his chest aching. He stood, looking at Nyxaria over Ilara's head. Come with us, Nyxaria said quietly. Not as hired help, not as a bodyguard, as family. Ilara needs you. I need you. Her voice dropped to a whisper. And I think maybe you need us too. You don't know me. I know you've risked your life for strangers. I know you do what's right even when it costs you. I know you're gentle with my daughter despite your fearsome skills. I know you've been alone too long carrying guilt that isn't yours to carry. Nyxaria stepped closer. I know that in 3 weeks you've become essential to us, and I hope we've become important to you too. Kai wanted to deny it, wanted to maintain his distance, his safety, his careful isolation. But he looked at Ilara's tear-streaked face, at Nyxaria's hopeful expression. at the drawing Elara had given him weeks ago, now carefully folded in his pocket. "I don't make promises," he said again, the same words from their first conversation. "I know," Nyxeria replied, "but maybe you could make an exception just this once." Kai was silent for a long moment, then he set down his bag. "No payment," he said quietly. Nyxeria's face broke into a radiant smile. "No payment. And I'm still not good at talking." "That's okay. We'll talk enough for all three of us." Elara cheered, launching herself at Kai again. This time he caught her, holding her close instead of pulling away. "You're staying?" Elara asked. Kai looked at Nyxeria over the child's head, saw the joy and relief and something deeper in her luminous eyes. "I'm staying," he confirmed. He'd saved her daughter in silence. Now the mother wanted him as her own, not as possession, but as family, as someone who belonged. And maybe, Kai thought as Elara hugged him tighter and Nyxeria's hand found his shoulder, maybe belonging wasn't so dangerous after all. Maybe it was exactly what he'd been running from, and exactly what he needed.